morning. Mornings with Luann and Tim on TV. What could be better? Sun? Friday!
Coffee.
Coffee's so awesome, isn't it?
I love bean water.
You love bean water?
What do they call it? Roasted bean water? No.
Oh, bean water.
That's what some people here call it.
Yes.
Have a cup of bean water.
I thought you were saying I love being water. Like
And I am water. I am one with the water. Friday, September the 14th. And it's going to be a busy weekend in Sault Ste. Marie.
Yes.
I had a great night last night.
What'd you do?
I went to the Rockin' Out for Recovery party.
Oh, right. You said that.
So I was the MC and the mayor was there, and then there was a beautiful young lady named Shelby who spoke about her experiences as going through recovery. She was so young, and she was addicted to crystal meth. Oh my gosh, the story she told, it was so...
Really?
But there she is, standing there looking young and beautiful, and she's graduating from college. That's what it's all about.
Shelby. Right on.
Yes. And so there's the turnout, over 200 people.
What?
Yes, with their and
gosh.
kids and families, all celebrating people who have gone through recovery.
That's so
who are in the
awesome.
process of fighting their addictions and learning how to get well again. And all those community partners, M&M's was there cooking hamburgers and hot dogs. The volunteers from all the agencies, Algoma Family Services, Algoma Public Health. I mean, the list, John Howard Society, the list goes on. It was great. And then the organizers had a band canceled at the last minute. Ooh. I know, and it was called Rockin' Out for Recovery, so the whole thing was based on the music.
On the rock.
Guess who comes along? This guy named Greg Callahan with his acoustic guitar, and Greg played from when the doors opened at the pavilion at 5 o'clock, right through till they served the barbecue. He must have played for 45 minutes to an hour.
Wow.
Then he came back and played while people were eating. Then he came back, and he played at the end till everybody left.
How lovely.
Volunteered, this Greg Callahan guy.
Cheers to you. That's
And I
awesome.
asked Greg, I said, "You're amazing. Have I ever met you before?" He said, "I think I might have auditioned for you when I was about 18 years old for a musical you directed." I said, "Did I cast you? Because if I didn't, I was stupid." And then he said, "He's in a band," but I said, "I see you in a band?" And he said, "Well, kinda, but now we're all fathers, so it's really, we're all dads. It's hard to get together to rehearse."
Yeah, for sure. You know what? It sounds like it's such a good idea because you mentioned the kids, and that really struck me how it's important to remember that a person in recovery and who has recovered has so many people around them who are also affected. So things like this are awesome.
One of the ladies who works for the organization, I said, "Look at the kids." And she said, "Isn't it nice that they're able to be with their kids, that they have possession of their children?"
Oh my God.
A lot of the times, people who are in
word.
recovery, you lose. The children's aid comes in if you're not fit.
Oh.
They take the kids away. So that meant even more to see these. And then the prizes that were donated: $200 Clark shoes and $100 from Low and Slow for food. Like just the community.
Did you steal any of these?
No, I didn't. I wanted to throw a ticket in there so I could win the shoes.
Yeah, seriously.
So it was a great night. So congratulations to everybody who organized it and to all those people who participated. Yay, rock on for recovery.
We would like to say happy birthday to our Susie.
Susie Barber.
Susie Barber would have been 58 years old today.
She would have turned 58 today,
We're
but
thinking about
we
you, girl.
lost Susie to ovarian cancer.
Yes.
It is ovarian cancer month this month. And also another Broadway legend, Marin Mazzie, 58 years old. 58 years old.
We have it.
Oh, we have it?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go
right
out.
now.
There's Marin. We're going to go out today with this clip. I'm going to let you listen to Marin Mazzie as we exit today. But that's Marin.
As we end the show.
Yeah, as we end
Awesome.
the segment, you'll get to hear her sing.
Awesome. She sounds like she's
Marin
like a
was
powerhouse.
only 58. Her birthday was October the 9th. She would have been 59 on October the 9th.
Oh,
Ovarian cancer took her from us as well. Kiss Me Kate. I saw her live in Ragtime.
Oh.
It took my breath away. She was absolutely a phenomenal. She also did Passion and Kiss Me Kate and Spam-A-Lot.
Aww.
Multiple
What a
Tony
shame.
Award
What a
winner.
loss.
So anyway, there you go. It's Ovarian Cancer Month. Take care of yourselves. Ladies, please.
You know what? You know you're doing well when the president now of Algoma University tweets about you.
Ozma
Vesna tweeted about Robert Asinaway. She congratulated him and said how proud she was of him. He's actually a second-year poli-sci student at Algoma U, and he is now part of the youth panel at the National Aboriginal Land Managers Gathering.
I saw that on Twitter.
Isn't that awesome?
Congratulations.
Good for you, man.
I want him on the show. Ozma, send him to me so we can
Yes.
interview him and talk about all the great. That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't
He's
that
young.
wonderful? Yes. to be like on a national panel like that?
Hey, speaking of Aboriginal and First Nation, tomorrow at the Old Stone House.
Yes.
We were talking about what the city's putting on for all staying fit and stuff. I've had Matt LaMontagne on the show talking about the to be fit, whatever. Anyway, commit to be fit.
Commit to be fit.
Saturday,
You need to
September
be
the
committed.
15th, I need to be committed from 1 o'clock till 4:30 at the Old Stone House. It's going to be beautiful weather.
Yes.
And it's called Drum Fit. And they're going to incorporate some First Nations drumming along with the regular Drum Fit program. So it's going to be a blast.
That's
totally free,
awesome.
family-friendly event. Go on down
So
to the Old
outside,
Stone.
like
Yes, out down in the, or they might be in the theater. I don't know if it's nice weather, they may be outside,
Right.
but it's at the Old Stone House. And if you've seen this Drum Fit thing, you drum on balls, on the rubber balls and stuff, and then you also
Really?
do like exercises and stretches while
While
you're
you're
drumming.
drumming.
And they're going to incorporate some native drumming into
That's
it.
so awesome.
I
I
know.
love native drumming.
I know.
Native drumming really makes me weepy.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It just it something overcomes me when I listen to the drumming.
It's beautiful.
It's just so raw and strong. You know.
There's two brothers. I think they're the Surratt brothers, and we've had them play at like some of the You the Sioux things at the
Oh, right.
at the SRC. Oh, the GLC Green for Life Center.
GFL.
What? What's GLC stand for?
I don't know.
Green licorice candy. Green
GFL.
GFL. Green for life. I said the thing right.
Yeah,
I'm
you
feeling like kind of buzzy right now. You talk.
Are you? Are you feeling buzzy? How weird. How odd. Also want to remind you that this is going to be an awesome weekend. The weather is like summer-like. Like we're talking upper 20s, which is awesome.
I heard 27.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
And so the torch ride happens tomorrow. So don't forget about that.
Yeah, and you don't have to be on a motorcycle. I found out from Sean Beaulieu that you don't have to ride a motor. If you go to the Husky and you're in a car, you could still join the parade, driving out to St. Joe's Island for the pancake breakfast at the Legion.
Okay.
And then you have your choice of doing the Sylvan Valley Art Circle, which is all this. Yes.
Jim and I do that one every year.
That's this
Love
weekend.
that.
Starts this weekend. Or there are other groups going out to Pancake Bay on the motorcycles to have free ice cream, courtesy of
nice.
Mr. Demare.
That's so awesome.
Or I think they Demers. Anyway,
Demers.
yeah, that's going to be. And also, this weekend, if you want to take advantage of the good weather, you could go to the corn maze.
It just opened.
It's that time of year. Farmer Bob at Mockingbird Hill Farm from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. 10 p.m.
That's the official date. That's the official beginning of fall in my
You gotta
mind.
go to
You
the
gotta
corn maze and
do the
it-
corn maze.
Do it in the evening.
Do
It goes
when
until
it's
dusk.
dark.
So
Yes.
that's a lot of fun stuff too.
That's awesome. There's
Yeah.
so much to do.
And on the show today, let's see. What we're talking about we can talk about Cause for Paws. That's another thing you can do this weekend.
Yes.
You can take your dog for Cause for Paws and raise some money for the Humane Society. And we have the Humane Society on today because it's Humane Society Friday.
Awesome.
All right, as I call it, Fur and Feathers Friday.
Fur and Feathers Friday. You know what?
What?
On a totally other note, you're not going to like this because it's going to
it
bring
bad
you down.
news?
It's going to bring you down.
I was so
But this
happy.
is important stuff that we have to talk about.
Okay.
One of the women who has accused publicly Harvey Weinstein of raping her,
Yes.
not molesting, not assaulting, she says he raped me, released a film, a tape of a meeting that she had with him, and she just had her camera sitting on a desk running, and she's a video tech person, I believe, and she was trying to get work from Mr. Weinstein on one of his movies, and it is the most awkward, get off me kind of a clip that I have seen.
You
Oh my
described it to me
gosh.
as while they're having this meeting, he puts his hand on
He
her
put
leg.
his hand on her leg, and
then
then
started to-
she's over here, and she's showing him what her
his
stuff,
feet.
and he's like this, and he's doing this, and then she actually says, "Oh, that's too high. Oh no, that's a little high," and she
His
still
hand is going up
tries.
her leg.
I can't flip and imagine. It disturbed me, that video. He was so, like when he greeted her, she put her hand out, he hugged her, and you can see his arms, and he's rubbing her back and at her lower back, and very, ugh.
I just read an article from the lady who created Designing Women.
Yes?
I can't remember her name right now. Susan something. It was 3 names. She created Designing Women, Evening Shade that Burt Reynolds starred in.
Yeah.
She had a whole slew. She had one of the highest, I think she had the highest, largest contract ever. For a series writer, $50 million. Ooh. And there was a penalty for every episode, every pilot that she created that didn't get picked up. This was part of the clause that she put in. She would get money. On top of the $50 million, she would get money if they didn't pick up a series.
Right.
Okay. So this is, what's his name? Les Moonves. She was doing great at CBS, going great guns. Les Moonves comes in. He shut her career down. He didn't like the fact that she wrote shows where women were opinionated and bossy and mouthy. He called them the mouthy Southern women on Design. He hated that show.
Really?
When she sat down to pitch a show, she said he sat there and glared at her across the table. He treated her like crap. And she talks about all this, and she says, she said at one time she would have been a southerly gentle woman.
You just don't.
No more. She said the gloves came off, and she said everything. And then she talked about another woman that she knew that he fired. And while he was firing her, the woman stood up, and they were in the cafeteria at CBS or something, and he said, I can't let you go like this. And she thought, oh, he's going to, say nice things. Yeah. And then he stuck his tongue down her throat.
Ew. I've heard that he's taken women and bashed them up against walls and stuff.
Terrible.
You know what? What is it with men?
I don't know.
Power?
What is it?
Like, seriously. Thank you for doing all that you're doing with regards to getting the word out there, man.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been historical and just a massive situation.
Yeah. All right. Well, now you totally ruined the mood.
We gotta know this stuff.
Okay. You know what's coming up next? What? A taped interview with these people. We have a thing in Sault Ste. Marie I didn't even know about called Ghost. GHOST.
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
Ghost Hunters of Ontario something. And there's an interview. I had them in the studio, and we're going to learn about what you can do if you think you've got something spooky going on in your house. And then Susan Russell Richards is here, New North Greenhouse, to talk about fall gardening and what we can do to get ready for the winter. And then Humane Society. And Luann has news. So don't go anywhere. There's tons coming up on Mornings with Luann and Tim right after this. Boo! Oh, there's Mary.
And think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me. Or were you just being kind?
Stand by. I am very excited to have in the studio with me Jay McLean and Christine Starzomski from GHOST, which stands for, Jay, tell me.
Ghost Hunters of Ontario Supernatural Team.
Ghost Hunters of Ontario Supernatural. Even just the name makes me excited. I was telling you before we went to air that I've always wanted to have sort of a supernatural experience. I believe in it. I love it. I try to open myself up to it, and it never happens. But it's happened to you.
Are you sure you want to?
I don't know. It's happened to both of you, and that's how you ended up. Well, first of all, you've known each other for a long time.
Like 20
plus
Many
years.
moons already, yeah.
25
The
years.
honeymoon's over.
Many moons.
Many moons ago.
No, many moons. Many moons.
Many moons ago.
Yes.
And you shared an experience that was sort of life-changing. You don't go into a lot of detail, but it was something
That's for a whole different show. Like,
you
you need
show.
at least an hour on that show.
But needless to say that it was something to do with the paranormal.
Oh,
Yes.
And it was very impactful. And then years later, you continued to sort of, well, do you tell the story?
well, I kept investigating. I was asked by a team to join them, so I did my thing with them.
Yeah.
We decided to start another team.
So
And
you
then
branched off and you formed Ghost?
me and 2 others.
Okay, great, yeah.
So we were talking about this experience from years ago that we had with Christine.
Yeah.
So I contacted her, hey, let's meet up. We'll talk about stories.
All those years later?
After 25
all the years later.
And what did you think?
I said, oh my God, you're going back?
Yeah.
So
And I did hesitate.
Yeah.
hesitate because it was a significant experience. But
I think I'd mentioned it to you a couple times, eh?
yeah, in passing, you ran into me in
Yeah.
the mall and in passing, and you kept bringing it up, and I kept thinking, I don't
So
know.
finally she came.
So your paths
Right.
were crossing. I mean, you did sort of stay in touch over the years, kind of.
Actually, we didn't for quite a while.
for a long
and,
time, yeah.
And it just all of a sudden, poof, one
Just
day
happened.
I think I ran into
And
him in
you
the mall.
said, okay, I'm in.
I said, okay, I'm
Yeah.
in.
And then everything just
you-
fell into place, and
Then you joined the team.
I joined the
Yeah.
team. yeah.
And there's about 5 of you right now?
it's 5 right now, yeah.
5 investigators. And so now, switching topics just a little bit to go to
Sure.
Christine, not that it really has any direct relevance to your work with Ghost, but you are Wicca? Or do you say I am Wiccan?
Wiccan.
You are Wiccan.
Yes.
And so, which means what? Explain what Wicca.
Okay, so to the layman's term, they're going to say that that means that I'm a witch.
If you know what, if you're
With a
witch,
W.
With
you're
a
one
W.
of the nicest witches I've ever met.
Thank you.
All right? And I do know some other Wiccan.
Yes, yes.
Anyway,
So,
go on.
but the term witch actually really doesn't mean a lot. It's a very overused term. It's been degraded over time,
Right.
and very negative connotations
The way
to
you
it.
put it to me was that it's very much about the universe and being in tune with nature and
That's right.
appreciating all
It's
the
very
gifts.
similar to many other religions. I find it extremely similar to First Nations beliefs. We believe in the planet. We believe in energy. We believe in positivity. We believe in loving each other, loving everyone around you, regardless of race, religion, sex, age. It doesn't matter.
Right.
We love everyone, and we want to share that love with others. We want to share that love with the planet, with the animals, respect the planet as it is. And so we use a lot of herbs and a lot of natural things to get through our day-to-day lives. We live by the moon and sun cycles just like they did years and years
I know
ago.
a lot of people these days who use herbs to get by their day-to-day lives.
Yes, that I won't comment on. That's a whole other religion in itself, I think.
Break time.
But yeah.
So, but very much a lot of spirit.
Yes.
Spirit. Would you say spirituality?
Yes.
Would you say that? I mean, is that fair to say that?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
Connected to spirit.
And so now here we are, and you deal with the paranormal. You've had experiences in Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, yeah.
So how do people find you? Do they reach out to you and say, I've got a house, or I've got a place, I've got a
That's
location?
exactly what they do. They get a hold of us on Facebook, and it's always me they message. They don't message any of the other crew. It's always me, and I'm not the personable guy, but, I got to do it anyways, right? It's always me, but, it's always...
So, and then what do? So let's say I call you and I say, okay, hey Jay, my name is Tim and I live in a 111-year-old house and I think that there's things going on. Can you come over? And you,
Well, I'll ask you questions.
Okay.
And I'll get back to you. I'll talk to the team, and then, a couple members, they'll get back to you. We got to see if it's even worth investigating.
Right.
See if,
I might be a crackpot.
somebody
People
will,
have said that about me in the past, Jay.
somebody will sneak away, go in your bathroom, check your medicine cabinet, like, yeah, okay, we're out of here,
All right. So you do some background.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We try to get background info on the property as well. and-
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
A lot of research in
And
this.
so when you go to research, when you go to actually investigate, do you, when you see like Ghostbusters and stuff and they have the backpacks and the and things and then beep, 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 and the readers, do you
We
guys
have lots of beeping things, but
you have
it's not a big backpack.
Oh,
But we
okay.
do have lots of
No,
beeping
you're going
things.
through with
But do you
Kate.
do energy source stuff like?
Oh yeah, you got to go through. Well, first of all, you got to go through the whole house or wherever. With your K2 meter, your EMF meter, you got to read all the power readings to see if there is high energy, because that alters the mind a little bit. And if everything is low, then we're good to go, and we start our investigation. But
We
you
have to
always
rule out.
have.
We have to
you
rule
always
out.
have to start with the EMF and K2 readings.
You have to rule out things that could be interfering, that could be causing these levels. Okay.
Right.
So our first job is to debunk.
Debunk?
Actually, our first job is to interview the client and find out how they're feeling.
Okay.
Because no matter what, whether they are truly experiencing something or not, we always are respectful of that person.
Right.
Everything is confidential, everything's private, we do not share their information. We want them to know that they can talk to us and they can trust us to tell us whatever it is they're seeing, regardless of how crazy it sounds.
And I'll tell the audience right now, in the pre-interview, I was talking to you guys and I was trying to get information out of you and you wouldn't spill anything. So you obviously take this confidentiality very,
Oh, yeah.
very seriously.
We have contracts, we have everything.
You do, right?
Yes,
You
we
make
do.
them sign and that, yeah.
Once your name gets out and like all these people, they betrayed our trust, and then they
That would
tell
ruin
it-
everything for you.
That ruins everything.
ruins
yeah.
everything.
Right. And you've worked hard. How long have you been working at this now? At Ghost? Or
Ghost
well,
itself, 3 years
All
just
right.
in Ghost. I've been doing it for about 4 or 5.
And you also said not only do you go and do investigations, you actually can do cleansings?
Oh yeah, we do removals as well.
Removals.
Yeah.
And service is free of charge unless there's some hazard. Is that what you
Right.
said? Is
So
that how you
what we
described
do
it
is
to
all
me?
investigations are for free because we want to
Removal
use the
service.
information to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what we're there for. We're there to learn more about spirit. We're there to learn more about things that we don't understand, and we're there to teach what we know to other people. If at some point any type of spirit or entity needs to be removed, at that point one of our members may be put into danger, and so that's when we ask for
donation.
Just some small donation,
Something
doesn't matter.
small to
Even
help
just
out.
something.
Right.
Because it's, you know, the caster, whether it's going to be Wiccan, whether it's going to be Christian, some kind of native removal, that caster puts themselves at risk.
This is wild. So now, if people, now I know, I told you off air that Edie Suriano from the Bushplane Museum said you guys could go in there, and I want to come with you. But meanwhile, if there's other people who have any interest, first of all, in meeting you and maybe talking to you, going for coffee and chatting about joining the team, that's one thing they could do. I mean, you're probably pretty particular about who gets to join.
Oh, yeah.
But then the outreach
Got some
then...
bad experiences there.
But the outreach then is really to people who might have a place where you could go. If they're interested in having you visit them and do an investigation, then you'd love for them to reach out to you.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And so Mike's going to put up on the screen an email address, and there it is right there. So let's talk it through. It's, what is the email address? It's ghost.
ghost.ssm.on at
Is it
gmail.
is it .on or don't?
.ont, I'm sorry.
I thought so.
.ont.
I can't read that far.
Ghost.ssm.ont@gmail.com.
Yes.
And they're going to write to you and they can say, I've got a home. Now, and businesses, you said, there are a lot of businesses in Sault Ste. Marie that are in very old buildings.
Yeah.
So reach out to them and maybe they can come in and find out what's going on in your store.
Did I give you one little story?
Yes.
Facebook as well.
Okay.
Facebook.
Ghost
Call
and
me.
the period in between each one.
We did this one business investigation. Place was empty. We allowed them to have one employee there. So the place was empty after hours. And so we did our investigation. We go home, we're going through the evidence. And my favorite part out of any investigation I ever done was all you can hear is this mama, mama, and then little footsteps run away. You hear it twice.
Okay.
There was no kids in the place.
I don't like that story.
How do you debunk something like
I
that?
can give you a small
maybe I should
tidbit of when we had our first experience, and I'll give the smallest part of it because there was a whole lot that happened to us when we were younger.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
remember being in this area. It was a private property. We had drove our vehicles in the sand. And the boys thought they heard something in the bush, and of course they leave the 16-year-old girl in the car by herself, right? So they're off running in the bush, and I'm thinking it's a raccoon or
Not
whatever
running
it
away
is.
in fear, running to
No,
Florida.
running because I thought they were
check
going to
it
jump
out.
out and scare
No.
me or whatever. And when they came back, we looked at we were walking around the vehicle, and there were hoof prints in the sand on top of the tire tracks that we had just made, and there was nobody there. So when we came back 25 years later and went to that same place to do an investigation, I hear him holler for me over the radio,
prints.
"Get over here!" And there's hoof prints.
Sad.
Okay, I just got total
All these years
goosebumps.
later.
Yeah.
All
So
the-
that's all I'm going to tell you because the rest you would probably have me committed. But
Yeah.
I am
that's-
so going to the Bushplane Museum with you guys.
We would love to have you.
Okay,
Fine, yeah, we'll
and we'll
take
bring one of
But
those
we
night
do have
vision
rules.
cameras.
We do have rules.
Bring the camera
I'll be good.
down.
I promise I'll be good. That's hard for me. Okay, I can't thank you enough, Jay McLean and Christine Starzomski from Ghost. Look them up, folks. Facebook or that email address that we put up there. If you want them to come and investigate, let them know. I think this is so cool. Thanks for joining us on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm going to have you back again.
Yes.
Okay,
we're
we're going to
game.
do it. All right, stay tuned for more on Mornings with Luann and Tim right after this. I love it.
So do you want to come with me on looking for ghosts at the Bushplane Museum?
Yes, I'm in. Seriously.
Have you ever had spooky things happen to you?
No.
Me neither. And I always say I open myself up to it, like, come.
Yes, because as they said, everybody has a third eye.
Yeah.
So you can actually train yourself to become more aware of.
I know, but I don't know.
You know what though? I have to tell you.
What?
In our rec room, for about a month, Jim would sit in this certain spot that he always sits in on the couch.
Yeah.
And he'd say, "Did you smell that?" And I'm like, "No."
Whenever Keith says that, I'm like, honey, you need to go outside.
And yes.
So,
He said, "I just got a whiff of flowers."
uh-huh.
And then the next couple of days would go by, and then he'd sit down again, same spot. And he said it was just like one
Yeah.
breath. And he said, after it happened for about a month the first time, he said, "You know what it reminds me of? My grandmother's roses."
Oh, I was just talking to Susan Richards about roses in the...
Right?
You're spooking me out now.
I know. And he loved his grandmother's roses so much. And he swears that he's thinking that's what it is.
Now, I have a friend. His name is Stephen. He's from Sault Ste. Marie. And at one time, he and his partner bought and operated a lodge in Huntsville, Ontario.
Oh, yes.
And there's a lot of stuff that goes down around in Huntsville. There's like very, very spooky in Huntsville. So in this lodge, same thing. In the kitchen, there was an area in the kitchen, and they would smell, and it was roses too. It was like a perfume, like a rose water.
Yeah, yeah.
They would smell that in the kitchen, and then in the living room, there was just a certain area, cigar smoke. They would smell cigars, and then once they saw an apparition on the staircase.
Yeah.
I know.
You know what?
What?
Cigar is a really dominant smell scent that if you're going to smell something, it's not unusual to smell a cigar.
Yeah.
Because it's such a dominant, or pipe apparently too.
Yeah.
And ghosts are pretty much mostly are old, so they're the pipe smokers.
Well, they talked about, was it here or was it in the, no, they didn't tell the story on air about the child.
The child?
They told me in the green room about little footsteps. Well, did they talk? Was it on air? Little footsteps and a child's voice, like calling like mommy or something. That would freak me out. That would freak me out.
You know what? That would freak me out. But like if for instance it was my dad, I always say, okay, if you're going to come and visit, I'd love to know you're here. I know you're here, but I'd love to know for sure that you're here. But start slow. Don't be chucking a book at my head, because.
Don't be chucking a book at my head.
Like you did when you were alive, but don't do that.
Oh my gosh.
Like just go easy. Like just give me a little, I look at his picture and I say hi to him every day.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I miss my daddy.
Yeah, my daddy's in an urn.
Yeah.
Yeah, my it's really cool actually. It's books. It looks like books on a bookshelf. Because my father was a voracious reader, and so it's heavy, this urn with his ashes in it, right?
They are.
And so this one time we were having like I think it was Easter or Thanksgiving or something, and we were all going out to my sister's cottage, and my mother decided that Dad should come with. So she bundles up the urn and she puts it in like I think a Canadian Club velvet bag or whatever, and she puts it on the front seat of her Toyota RAV, and she's going to bring the urn out for the party. Bringing Terry out for a trip. We're going on a road trip, Terry. And so she puts them on the front seat of the RAV, and as she's driving down Thornlow, she hears ding, 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 ding. She's like, what the hell's going on? Well, the weight of the urn on the front seat was setting off the seatbelt thing, so she had to strap the urn. And from then on, we always brought Dad to every party. Christmas, he'd be on the piano.
I love how you're not afraid. Some people are like, oh my God, I don't want to touch it in case I disturb
my
him.
father had an amazing sense of humor. He'd love it.
That's so clever. That's funny.
Hey, so listen, I mentioned that Susan Russell Richards is here. So I don't know why Susan Richards. I knew her from Point Louise, where she was Point-à-Park. She was with Susan Russell. Anyway, she's Susan Richards, and she's the manager of New North Greenhouses.
She knows so much stuff.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
You just found out that you were wrong and Jim was right.
Jim's right. Yeah.
About pruning hydrangea.
Don't tell him.
He knows now. He doesn't watch your show.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
Anyway, Susan's coming up after the break.
Terrific.
All right.
So we're going to take this break, but stay with us because there's always more on TV.
I believe. Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim and Susan Richards from New North Greenhouses.
Good morning, Tim.
Welcome back, Susan.
Thank you.
I love having Susan on the show because she's so wise. How did you get into gardening in the first place? Have you always been interested in landscaping, gardening and stuff?
My mother had a real green thumb, but she was with house plants, so the house was always full of plants. So I liked plants, and so I started in college.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did, doing landscapes. So first of all, I was a landscaper, and I did garden design and landscaping. And then when I was expecting my first child that summer, I couldn't work as a landscaper, got into garden center work, and then I stayed with that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
See, and I remember when my grandfather Murphy died a gazillion years ago. Yeah. He encouraged me. He loved to garden, and he had raspberry bushes and strawberry on John Street. Their whole backyard was just overgrown with beautiful flowers and
Oh,
berries and
nice.
things.
Yeah.
And he encouraged me to plant my first plant, a begonia.
Oh, yes.
And
Yep.
so he told me that I should do this, and so I planted one sort of in memory of him, and that was my very first time ever gardening. But I never really kept up with it. My mother and my grandmother, green thumbs,
Yeah.
we always had really nice proper gardens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when I bought the house, then I started, and I love it now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm obsessed. And I love coming out to New North greenhouses because there's always something I find. My most recent purchase was one of the pictures. If you've never heard of these things, there's such a beautiful idea.
Yeah, indoor outdoor art. Yeah.
Indoor outdoor art. Now, and the canvas is completely treated for UV and for water.
Yep.
It can hang outside.
Yep.
You take it in for the winter, obviously.
yeah, I would.
But I hung it on, if you have an old fence or something and you want to hide it, I hung it on the fence and I got a little clip-on light with a battery, and at night I can turn it. Gorgeous.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. It looks wonderful.
Yeah. And so now we're getting ready for fall.
Yes, we are.
Lots to do.
Yes, I like fall to do work better than spring. Well, of course, in my business, I'm too busy in the spring, but
Right.
I try to get as much done in the fall as we can. We just built a garden shed, or had a garden shed built in our property. It was on my long-range plan.
Okay.
And so now I have to move plants and get a planting around it to sort of settle the shed into the landscape. So there's always things on your to-do list that you don't get done in the spring, or it gets too hot in the summer like
Yes.
this year. And then you've got things that have to be done. And of course, then there's fall work that has to be done to get ready for the
So what
winter.
should we be doing now, Susan, at this time of the year if we have perennials, for
Okay,
instance?
for perennials, then you need to look at your gardens and see if any of them need to be moved or divided. I have got a little anemone that was a dwarf one I planted last year, and it's too far back in the garden. I've got something bigger in front of it. So in another week or so, maybe 2 weeks, when things look a little more fallish, I'm going to take those two plants and I'm going to switch
them.
positions. And then, because I need to plant around this garden shed, I'm going to look into my shade garden and see what's big enough to divide, that I can divide a piece of this hosta and move it over there. And so take a real good look, take a pen and paper out into your yard, walk your yard, make some notes of what has to be moved, what needs to be divided. And then you're ready in a few weeks, when things start to look really fallish. That's the time to start your work.
You're saying fallish because it is still rather warm, and this
It
weekend
is.
we're looking at maybe 27
That's
degrees.
right.
So we shouldn't be pruning yet.
No,
because
definitely not.
the plants will think that it's fall, but then when the summer comes, when the warm weather comes, they're going to start to bud again.
Well, there's always that potential. Sometimes when you prune in September and we get warm weather like this, pruning stimulates new growth. It's a signal for the plant to grow. And those buds that have developed on your shrubs, you want them to stay dormant till next spring.
Yeah, you want the flowering to happen in the spring,
That's
not
right, in the
late
leafing.
fall.
Exactly.
or
So
early
you
fall.
leave them alone right now.
Okay.
If you absolutely have to prune, but spring's a better time for pruning, late March, early April. Just before new growth happens is a better pruning time. But if you've got shrubs with long, lanky growth that you're worried that the snow load is going to break them down,
Right.
and that's why some people shorten their shrubs in the fall. Do it late fall, in late October, early November, when you know the warm weather's gone.
When it's gone.
It's consistently cold, and you know that pruning isn't going to stimulate new growth.
Right. Now, what about things like shrubs? We have to hold off for a bit before we start like wrapping or anything. With that,
Oh, it's way too early to
way
wrap.
too early to wrap.
Yes, again, you can get all your supplies ready, get sort of organized so you know what needs to be wrapped and you've got everything ready. And then you're going to put the stakes in the ground around your shrubs before the ground freezes, but you're not going to do the wrapping till into November.
Okay. Now, when we are pruning, we were talking to Luann about this
Yes.
because we mentioned that you proved that her husband
husband
Jim
was right.
When it comes to things like the hydrangeas, you want to wait until the spring to cut them off.
That's correct.
And when we do start cutting things back, and
Yep.
when we are pruning,
Yep.
we should be looking at cutting how much on a thicker stem as opposed to a newer.
Well,
growth.
you look at the new growth, and the new growth is always going to be the end growth.
Okay.
So you're pruning 1/3 to maximum 1/2 of the new growth.
Of the new growth.
You need to leave enough of the new growth on with its buds, so that when new growth in next spring starts, you've got the buds for the
Right.
new growth.
And whatever you do, don't prune your lilacs now.
Absolutely not. I think we mentioned this when I was on before.
I did that last year.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, sorry, 2 years ago. Because this year I actually had flowers again, but they were spindly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything like a rhododendron azaleas, we were talking about yours.
Mm-hmm.
lilacs, they all have on the ends of their new growth, they have their flower buds formed already. If you prune now, you're pruning off the flower buds. So those ones are pruned immediately after they bloom.
Right after they bloom, you
Yep.
snip your little, and I don't go back too far. I just go basically to the base of the flower.
That's exactly
Cut that,
right.
and then let that stem get strong so it can
Yep.
support another flower the next year.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and then what about, do you talk about lawns at all?
Sure. This time of year, basically, you're going to keep cutting your grass. As it gets into the colder weather, you're going to do your final cut shorter,
Okay.
so there's less dead grass there. Keep it well raked, and if you're a person that likes to do fall fertilizer, now's the time to do it. It's a bit warm, so what you want to do is have it ready to go, put it on just before rain's going to happen, because it's pretty warm and dry right now.
Beautiful. Now, what's going on at New North? You guys are closing down the end of the month?
That's right. We always close around the end of September, so we've got our clearance sale on now. It's a good time when you're...
Sale! I'll be out this weekend.
It's a good time to buy plants because we want to clear them out, and all merchandise too, and then that way
Beautiful stuff.
we have less to overwinter in the plants, and for merchandise we have fresh stuff because we're already booking buying shows for next year.
How exciting.
It is. It's fun. You get this whole cycle that goes on. The vendors are sending us catalogs. The nursery vendors and the plant vendors are getting their plant lists organized to send out. And we can look and see what's new, and we start to order and get excited for next year.
See, and that's the great thing about your job is that even though the season's coming to an end, you're already looking
That's right.
towards spring. So
We
am
are,
I. I'm already
absolutely.
looking for spring too, Susan.
I know.
Your hours?
Right now we're open Monday through Friday 9 to 5 and on weekends 10 to 5, and that'll be right till the end of September.
Beautiful. Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for coming in
Oh,
again.
you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Probably won't see you again until the spring, but we'll see you then.
Okay.
And enjoy your property, enjoy your winter.
I will. Thanks
And
very
we'll
much.
be right back to say goodbye with Luann after this.
Every night I hope and pray.
Okay, this isn't Luann, and we're not saying goodbye. This is Cindy Ross from the Humane Society, as you can clearly see, and these are kittens. Now, these little kittens are how old, Cindy? By the way, welcome back.
Yeah, thank
we
you.
haven't seen you for a while. Laura's
Yeah.
been here, but we've enjoyed Laura's
Yeah.
company.
Yeah,
How old are these kittens?
they're approximately 2 months. They were born July 11th.
And you said they were born in the shelter.
Yes.
So did somebody drop off a pregnant mommy then?
Yes, and their mummy couldn't raise them, so
Oh.
we had another mummy who stepped in, who has
Really?
actually stepped in and raised quite a few
No kidding.
orphans.
You get certain
Yeah.
cats that will
So
just have that
she-
nurturing instinct.
Yeah, so this is, when these guys go up for adoption this weekend, that will be the end of her days of motherhood.
I have a question. How is a cat who didn't actually give birth, how does the milk
Oh,
happen?
she did.
Oh,
She had a litter herself.
Oh, she'd had a litter herself, and so while
And
she
she
was
took
feeding
on
her
more.
babies, she
Yeah.
took on the extra. Was you say
Yeah.
there were 4 of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are both females.
Yeah.
This one's like just almost like completely gray. This one's got a little stripies
Yeah,
going
he's got
on.
some stripe. He's like a smoky black with
Beautiful.
stripes. He's
And
going
the
to be beautiful.
eyes. You got the
Yeah.
prettiest green eyes.
Yeah.
Now these cats, cats are supposed to stay in a house, aren't they?
We prefer that.
Yes,
Yeah,
my
it's-
neighbors prefer that too. I have a neighbor who traps cats,
Yeah.
and she brings them to you
Yeah.
when they're trapped because she doesn't want cats getting hit by cars,
Yep.
and she doesn't want cats killing birds in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
So if you have a cat in my neighborhood, don't let it out of the house because it will get trapped and brought to the
Yeah.
Humane
Well,
Society.
and it's safer for them.
It is. That's the
It is.
idea.
It is safer for them, and there's all kinds
I
of
mean,
things.
if you live on a farm, okay, barn.
still,
You're still
you have
inside?
to. Well, you still have to. I think there's a feeling that if it's a barn cat, you just throw them out in the barn and they'll fend for themselves and eat mice
That's
and be
not fair.
fine. But they still need to have vaccines. They still need to be fed. They
Oh,
still need
yes.
to be fixed. They
Now-
still need care.
When we adopt these kittens, we're going to pay how much money?
$90.
And that includes a portion of that goes towards having the cat. In this case, these would be spayed because
Yeah.
they're females.
$60 of that will go towards
60
their
of the
spay.
90 goes towards that, so the vet will deduct that from the bill once they have them
Right.
spayed or neutered.
Yeah.
And then what do we need to do to
Hello.
have you ready for a kitten? If we're bringing a kitten home, what should we have in our house?
Well, they love beds like this with this
Little bed.
this fleecy lining. They love stuff like that. They love toys.
They love toys like this.
Litter box, obviously, and litter. And we would recommend at this age that if you take them home, that you confine them to a smaller space for a little bit till they get used to a bigger surrounding. Because these guys, obviously, all they've known is a cage and a little bit of outdoor time. So it's hard for them to adapt to a big world. So just slow.
Start them off in a smaller space in the house.
Smaller
and
space.
You want them to acclimatize themselves. The same as, you got a big weekend coming up.
Yes, we
at
do.
the Humane Society. It's Paws for Cause.
Paws for Paws dog walk.
What's it called?
Cause for Paws.
It's the dog walk tomorrow. Is it at the Roberta Bondar Pavilion?
Yes, it is.
What time does that start?
Registration starts at 11.
Okay, so if you haven't already registered and managed to collect some donations, what do you call them? Pledges.
Pledges.
You can still go down and participate and just bring some money of your own to donate, right?
Absolutely. And you don't have to have a dog to participate.
You don't?
No.
Will you have dogs there to walk?
Are
you bringing some down from the Humane Society?
We prefer that people let us know that ahead of time so that we can get them set up.
Oh, you mean you could
transportation-wise.
actually arrange to bring an animal down to be walked?
If someone would like to do that, they can just give us a shout at the shelter, and we'll get that set up for them.
So that's tomorrow morning?
That is tomorrow morning.
What time?
Registration is at 11, and the walk starts at noon.
At noon?
Yeah.
How long is the day going to be?
It's not that long a day. We're done by 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And at 1 o'clock, we'll be drawing the winners of our outdoor raffle.
Okay, now, it's the last chance to get tickets.
Yes.
And the sales have not been great, so we need to get some more
great.
money for the Humane Society to take care of all these beautiful animals. Where do we get tickets?
We are, at the shelter.
Okay.
And we are at Sewell's Gas Bar on Frontenac all day today as well.
So go out there and get some fish and chips out from Huddy's.
Yeah.
And then go and get your tickets at Sewell's Gas Bar.
Locations, we're starting to pick up tickets today. So there's some vets offices, both Pet Value locations.
Oh, really?
Fountain Tire.
Okay.
There's several places around town.
Get your tickets and support the Humane Society and go down for Cause for Paws and check out these kittens and others that are currently available for adoption at the Humane Society. Cindy, have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks for visiting as always. We'll be back. This time, I'm not kidding. We're coming back to say goodbye with Luann after this.
Hi guys, welcome back. Are you getting a kitten?
No.
No.
No, I'm not getting a kitten. Hey, tonight is Sue's Got Talent at the Tech. If you're interested in joining the karaoke contest for prizes and money, go to the Tech and check it out.
You bought me some flowers.
Well, no, Susan Richards said that we need to get rid of the tulips and get some sunflowers. And I said, well, that won't be hard to do. You, my green
Should
thumb.
I wear them in my hair?
There you go, Lulu. There you go. Listen, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here Monday morning on Mornings with Luann and Tim. Take care, everybody.
Have a good one.